Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. It's a beautiful day here. I hope it is where you are. I'm not talking about the weather. I'm just talking about a beautiful day to be alive and to see God at work. And this morning I'd like to share a passage. It's really one of my favorite books. It's just a little one, the book of Philippians. And I want to read to you from chapter 1 and verses 9 and 10. Here's what it says. I pray, that's Paul who wrote the book. I pray that your love will overflow more and more, and that you will keep on growing in knowledge and understanding. For I want you to understand what really matters, so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the days of Christ's return. Paul has an interesting thought here, and he connects the thought to an action. And the thought is that we, as he puts it here, that you understand what really matters. Life is full of choices. You make them, I make them. Sometimes we make bad choices. Sometimes we have to live with the consequences of bad choices. Sometimes those consequences are not very good. But what is good is when we understand what really matters. Now, when I was growing up, I grew up in a family. It's hard to describe, I guess. But the one thing about my family was that money mattered. I had an aunt one time say to me, "Why does everything in this family have to revolve around money?" Now, I didn't feel comfortable in really sharing my opinion. But what my opinion was, because it always has. When I was growing up, the only thing that really mattered was how much money you had. It came from my grandfather, who was very wealthy, very successful. And he used his money to play one kid against the other. And he used it to reward those that he liked and to punish those that he didn't like. And that's how I grew up. Somewhere along the line, I don't really know exactly where, I just decided I didn't like that idea. Now, don't misunderstand. I like money. I like having money. I like being able to buy things. I don't splurge and collect whole bunches of stuff like some folks I know. I'm not suggesting that being poor is particularly and necessarily spiritual. But somewhere along the line, I figured that there had to be something more that really mattered than money. Now, I hate to say this, but there are a lot of people in this world who think just like I was raised. There are a lot in my extended family who think that way. Some of them have a lot, some of them don't, but it doesn't change the way they think. So Paul is saying here to the Philippians, I want you to understand what really matters. Now, what is it that really matters? Well, that comes out of the verse right before it. I pray that your love will overflow more and more. So the first thing that really matters is how much love you have for yourself, not being narcissistic and egotistical, but how much you care about yourself and how much you care about others. So the first thing that's really important is how much you love. And then the second thing's here, it says, and that you will keep on growing in knowledge and understanding. Now, knowledge and understanding of what? Here, he's talking about knowledge and understanding of God. So, what really matters is knowledge and understanding of God. Now, when I say knowledge, I don't mean memorizing verses. I know some people who can quote scripture from sunup to sundown, and they are no more kind and gracious than the man in the moon. You know, it's not memorizing scripture that counts. It's understanding the God about whom the scripture's written that counts. So you see, Paul is saying the things that matter are number one, that your love will overflow more and more, and two, that you will keep on growing in the knowledge and understanding of God. And because of that, he says, therefore, I want you to understand what really matters. Now, as we understand that, then comes the practical part. Because he says, and then he says, so that you may live pure and blameless lives. Now, he doesn't mean perfect lives. He doesn't mean lives that never make a mistake. If that's your goal, I want to tell you right now, you're not going to make it. And if you're going to beat yourself up because you don't make it, you don't have any hope. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about a pure and blameless life, one that puts into practice that love flowing more and more. You see, in these two little verses, Paul tells us what's important and how to live based on that. Now, if I had started this devotional by asking those questions, what do you think is most important? And how do you live? I don't know what you would have said. Maybe many of you would have said the exact same things I'm talking about. Some of you may have said something very different. But what Paul is trying to drive home here is the point that as our love grows for others and ourselves, you can't put yourself down all the time. If you do, you get nowhere. It's a recipe for disaster. You have to care and believe that you're worthwhile. And then you have to care and believe that other people are worthwhile. I'm amazed when I read in the paper and I hear comments from other Christians how certain people are worthwhile, but others aren't. How certain groups of people are special and others are something a whole lot less. Where in the world do you get that idea from the life of Jesus? He goes to the worst of society and eats with them, and fellowships with them, tells them they can enter the kingdom. You see, our love has to overflow for everybody and every place you go in your life. And that's what really matters. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. If you have a prayer, concern, or a need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can, as fast as we can, to help meet that need. God bless you. Until we come together again, I'll talk to you another time.